It was spring of that year. My friends asked me to go ferrying to Dokso, located in the Han River, on the weekend. My friends told me to bring a girlfriend. I asked Miss Jung to go with, but she said that she should go to her uncle's house. Miss Che said she couldn't spare the time because she had to help with housework every weekend. I was standing in the lobby, wondering what to do. At that time, Miss Kim ran out greeting me. "Miss Kim, I need to talk to you. Do you have time?" She stepped on the commuter bus and came back down. "I'm going to Dokso with my friends tomorrow. Do you want to go with me? It's such a nice day. You are not going to go home early to play in front of your mom, are you? I'm supposed to meet my friends in Jungno. Do you want to go?" "Why? Miss Jung or Miss Che must have rejected your offer." I felt as if she had noticed my situation, so my face was burning. She didn't look young from the way she spoke. She was 3 years younger than me, and I actually felt as if she was my younger sister. "What if you don't mind a cheap chicken instead of an expensive pheasant? Let's go." We got on a ferry boat in Dokso. Everyone sat in pairs and men rowed. Miss Kim was fresh in a suit of green to blend in with the spring scenery. I only saw her wearing a uniform at work, but when I saw her wearing plain clothes, I felt different about her. I was just trying to have a fun time with her that day, but the tide began to set in my mind. A week later, we went on a picnic to Nami Island instead of work. After lunch there, we had free time. As I stood up to look around the island, Miss Kim ran to me. "Look at these things." She stuck out 3 4-leaf clovers. "I'm giving this to you for good luck." "Really? I've never seen that before. It's really amazing." Suddenly, my heart went up and down in my chest. "Excuse me, I have a favor to ask of you." "What is it?" "I'll comply with your requests." I laughed confidently. "Actually, I'm still a minor, but I want to go to a nightclub. My friend said it was okay if I went with my guardian." My heart swelled as I watched Miss Kim come forward actively. "Miss Kim, well, I have something to say. Will you marry me if you don't marry by the time you're 30? As she wished, I took her to the youth's favorite nightclub, Pengo Pengo, in Cheonggyecheon, Seoul. She looked young no matter how much I tried to look at her as an adult. She had a cute face. People danced and glanced at her on the stage. I was anxious to find out that she was a minor. Looking closely, she looked pretty, but why didn't she look like a woman all this time? I kept looking at her with my eyes open, wondering if she looked pretty because I was drunk. As this became a connection, I always sat down with Miss Kim in English conversation class. Miss Jung did not look at me nicely. A few days before, I promised to introduce Miss Kim to my friend's brother at Seoul National University as a festival partner. I was bothered by him who was calling. "You said you would introduce a male student to me. Keep your word." After going to a nightclub, Miss Kim began to look like a woman. Since then, we always were together in and out of the company. After work, I took her home to Dobong-dong every day. There was a mountain near Miss Kim's house. I found every corner of the valley where only the two of us could meet in secret. There was a lot of gossip among my colleagues, but it didn't bother me at all. At that time, I couldn't hope for the future. I had to go to the army in a few months. It was time to clean up, but Miss Kim came to me, and the relationship was with me for the rest of my life. Having never been afraid to go to the army, I began to feel a lot of pressure when the date of my enlistment was approaching. I was worried about the livelihood of my family when I joined the army. I was worried about my mother and my younger siblings who would suffer from my father's drunkenness. Besides, I have one more thing to worry about, Miss Kim. I didn't want to hurt a woman. It was heartbreaking to expect her to be lonely after I joined the army. Most of the female colleagues were interested in college graduates, and there were many couples getting married in the company. In the meantime, I was grateful to Miss Kim for always liking me even though I was a high school graduate. The movie March of Fools was booming among young people. The young man, Byung-tae, who starred as the main character of the movie, joined my company. Some of the female colleagues wandered around the General Affairs Department to see him in their spare time. Until I went to the army, I had a date with Miss Kim every day after work. One day, I slightly kissed her in the back seat of the bus, and I got a glare from the bus guide. On another day, we were hugging each other in a crowded bus, and we were embarrassed because many passengers got off. It was an hour-and-a-half bus ride to Dabong-dong where she lived, but I enjoyed going there every day. Time went by so fast during our dates. We spent a hot summer buying sherbet bars at a supermarket and sucking it up like children. I wanted to touch her in some kind of way. She made me feel more impatient by avoiding me. A few days later, on September 10th, I had to join the army, but I was impatient. I wanted to make her my woman before someone else could take her. I shaved my head and came to my office for the last time to say goodbye to my colleagues. As I turned around shaking hands one by one, I saw my empty chair. It was a chair that I had been with for 3 years since I entered as a worker. I left the office and headed for the nearby tea room. Miss Kim ran to the bus stop in Huamdong. She didn't take the commuter bus on purpose to make time for us to be together. We took a city bus to Jongno Oga Terminal and transferred to Uijeongbu City, the northern outskirts of Seoul. That day, I was so unstable on the bus. I saw her in the office every day, but I didn't see her all day that day. I missed her so much. We sat at the back of the bus and held hands with each other all the time. I felt something empty and nervous when I wore a hat with a shaved head. I realized that there were only a few days left. I drank Koleong wine while eating Chinese food. Putting my arm around her shoulder, I walked at night and I sang happily. I'm going to build a 2-story house. My dream is to live with my parents and brothers. Although I live in a rented house now, I dream of building a nice house. When I discharge from military service, I'll be ready for college again. My parents don't have enough money, but I'm going to have my siblings go to college too. Miss Kim, what is your dream? She looked up at the dark night sky. I want to be a writer. I used to be in the National Children's Writing Contest when I was a kid. I've been carrying a collection of poems since the 1st grade of elementary school, and I memorized them. Everyone told me I was going to be a poet, but I had to go to commercial school and get a job because my family life was difficult. I used to be 3rd place in the whole school when I took the exam until I got to middle school. However, as I went to commercial high school, I managed to graduate with a bad grade because the commercial subject was not suitable with me. Don't I look like a literary girl? I lost and forgot about the last bus to go home with the passing of time. Their curfew was approaching. I couldn't help but enter an inn. I was drunk and laid down as soon as I entered. Miss Kim took the Bible out of her handbag and began to read it. Suddenly, I felt ashamed. I thought I shouldn't touch a minor. I woke up and found Miss Kim lying on her knees on the table and asleep. I woke up in the early morning and went outside. The wind brushed my face. I could feel autumn. The blue sky was clear before I knew it. Miss Kim said she would visit her friend's house to make up an alibi. Oh, what's the matter? Her friend glanced at me in surprise. I nodded my head awkwardly. I had to stay at an inn because of the curfew. Tell my mom I slept at your house. Her friend looked at me with a meaningful smile. Oh, I can't do without receiving anything. I look forward to your kind cooperation. I have no time right now, so I'll buy you a delicious meal next time. Oh dear. Good-hearted. I'll go. What should I do? Her friend changed her clothes and followed us to help our alibi. I left Miss Kim with her friend and headed to the bus stop. As I was waiting to take the bus, a blind person asked me to tell him when the bus to Jongno arrived. There seemed to be a facility near Nowon Bridge for the blind. The bus he wanted to take was the one I was waiting for, so we rode together. I'm going on a business trip to massage someone in Jongno. Please tell me when we get to the station on Jongno. I wondered how a blind person could get around. I followed him down at Jongno Iga. I gave him my arm and guided him to the address on the memo. He offered to buy me lunch. I declined at first, but I couldn't refuse it because he kept saying he would buy it. I wanted to pay for the meal, but I didn't want to hurt his pride. I watched him as he walked with his cane, disappearing into the alley. I was resentful that my family could not be happy like others, but because my parents blessed me with a healthy body, I was grateful.